I have a system. 6:15 alarm. Same breakfast. Suppressant patch pressed to the inside of my left wrist before I'm fully awake. I've done it so long it doesn't feel like hiding anymore. It just feels like morning. I've lived in apartment 804 for 2 years. I know this building the way you know a song you never chose. The couple in 801 who argue every Sunday, the grandmother in 806 whose dunjang fills the hallway by 7 a.m. I am background noise in other people's lives. I prefer it. Invisibility is its own kind of armor. Kim Raiwan moved into 803 on a rainy Tuesday with 3 boxes and a monitor the size of a dining table. I watched from my doorway, calculating disruption. He caught me looking. Smiled like it cost him nothing. I'll be quiet after midnight. Mostly. I thought about that mostly for longer than I should have. He knocked at midnight 2 weeks later needing a bottle opener. I handed it through a 4-inch gap. The next morning he returned it with a convenience store coffee balanced on top. Medium sweet, not too hot. You look tired, he said. Through the door. I took both and said nothing. He didn't need me to. January broke the heating on a Friday night. I lasted 4 hours under 2 blankets before I knocked on 803. Raiwan opened the door like he'd been expecting me. Space heater. Imported whiskey. The kind of stillness that doesn't demand anything. We talked until 4 a.m. Somewhere in it I said something honest by accident, about being exhausted by my own composure, and he just nodded. Like what I'd said was reasonable. I'm not looking for anything serious, he said. But neither am I. I believed it completely. That was my first mistake. The arrangement began without a name. 2 evenings a week, then 3. His lamp always low, his attention always. This is what I couldn't prepare for, specific. Raiwan asked. Every time, quietly, without making it awkward. Is this okay? What do you want? Tell me. I didn't know how to answer at first. I'd spent years treating my body like something to manage rather than inhabit. The first night I understood what he was doing, I went very still. He noticed. He always noticed. You don't have to know yet, he said quietly against my temple. We have time. Nobody had ever given me time before. What followed, across those weeks, was an education I hadn't enrolled in. Not dramatic. Not rushed. Just Raiwan paying the kind of attention that made me aware of myself in ways I'd deliberately avoided. The particular warmth of his hands, unhurried and certain. The way he'd pause, watching my face, reading something there I hadn't said aloud and responding to that, the unspoken thing, rather than what I'd managed to perform. I discovered I had preferences. Strong ones. Preferences I'd never known because no one had ever slowed down long enough to let me find them. One evening he showed me something, guided my hands, said here, like this, remember this, and the sound I made surprised both of us. He looked at me after with this expression I couldn't decode. Not smug. Something quieter. You've been very patient with yourself, he said. For a long time, I think. I didn't answer. I looked at the ceiling. My heart was doing something unscheduled. December arrived. He remembered I don't eat meat and ordered accordingly without comment. Left the hall light on when I worked late. Knocked twice before texting. Just checking you're up, no rush. Small things. Unremarkable things. The kind that accumulate without permission. One night I'm in my own bed, running my usual accounting. This is manageable, this is clean, this is what we agreed. And I remember that earlier, Raiwan had rested his hand on the back of my neck. Not going anywhere. Just there. And I had closed my eyes and thought, don't move. Not yet. I open my phone. Order more suppressant patches. My hands aren't quite steady. That's the moment I should have stopped. Instead I press confirm, put the phone face down, and lie in the dark listening to the silence from 803 like it's something I can learn to read. I don't stop. Months in, and I've stopped timing my exits. That's how I know something has shifted. I used to leave before midnight, shoes already near the door, an excuse preloaded and ready. Now I wake up in Raiwan's bed at 3 a.m. and don't feel the panic I'm supposed to feel. Just the low hum of the space heater and his arm loose around my waist and the specific silence of a building asleep. I study the ceiling and tell myself this is still manageable. I've discovered things about myself I can't unknow. That's the real problem. Raiwan has this way of making space, unhurried, genuinely curious, and I've been filling that space with a version of myself I didn't know existed. Someone with preferences. Someone who can say wait, again or not like that and not feel like an inconvenience. One evening I finally said what I wanted, plainly, without rehearsing it first. Raiwan went still for a moment, then looked at me with something warm and unguarded in his expression. You should always just tell me, he said. I know, I said. Do you? I didn't answer, but I thought about it for 3 days. What I didn't account for is how much I would feel during the quiet parts. Not the evenings we spend tangled and breathless, though those are their own kind of undoing, but after. When he traces absent patterns on my shoulder blade like I'm something worth the attention. When he asks what I'm thinking and actually waits for the answer. I've started telling him small true things in those moments, and he receives each one like it isn't remarkable, which is the only way I could ever learn to offer them. This is not what we agreed to. I can feel it changing shape and I don't stop it. Then comes the Thursday that rearranges everything. I smell it before I see her. Warm amber, distinctly alpha, drifting through the hallway from the direction of 803. A woman steps out, pretty, unhurried, laughing at something on her phone. She gives me a passing smile. I give her the same one back. My face does exactly what I trained it to do. Nothing. I close my door. I put my bag down. I sit on the kitchen floor with my back against the cabinet and stare at the refrigerator and breathe. I am fine. This is fine. We made no agreement. We said nothing serious. This is precisely what I signed up for. I cancel Friday. Swamped with grading, sorry. Raiwan replies within a minute. HYPERSEXUAL. No question mark. No pushback. I stare at those 2 words for a long time. I wanted him to push. I wanted him to ask, are you sure, or I'll miss you, or anything that would give me the right to feel what I'm feeling. He gave me exactly what I asked for, no pressure, no claim, and it sits in my chest like swallowed glass. I avoid him with surgical precision for 2 weeks. Timed exits. Brief texts. A weekend workshop in Busan I don't need and don't mention. I tell myself I'm resetting. Getting back to the version of myself that doesn't need things. That version feels very far away. He catches me in the elevator on a Wednesday. We stand side by side and I look at the doors and feel his presence the way you feel a change in temperature. Before you can name it, your body already knows. Are you angry with me? No. Did I do something? No. He looks at me for a long moment. Not demanding. Not wounded. Just present in the way that has always been harder to handle than anger would be. If something changed, he says quietly, I'd rather you tell me than disappear. The doors open. I step out first. Nothing changed, I say. I walk to my door. I hear the elevator close behind me. I stand with my key in the lock and don't move for a full minute, because I just lied directly to the one person who has never lied to me, and my body knows it even when my mouth doesn't. That night I lie in my own bed, my own, not his, and press my hand flat against my sternum like I can hold something in by force. I became someone who needs things without permission. I became the complication I promised I wouldn't be. And the worst part, the part one can't stop pressing like a bruise, is that I think he felt it too. I'm almost certain. Almost. We are very polite now. That's the thing nobody tells you about distance. It has its own etiquette. The hallway wave. The held elevator door. The text that says did the package service come today and means absolutely nothing and everything simultaneously. We have become experts in the language of fine, Raiwan and I hate how fluent I've gotten. 3 weeks of this. I count them without meaning to. I go on 2 dates arranged by a well-meaning colleague. Both men are decent, present, attentive, unbothered in ways I currently am not. I sit across from them and smile at the right moments and come home both evenings to stand in my hallway, listening to the specific quality of silence from 803, and feel nothing but the particular exhaustion of performing okayness in stereo. I'm sleeping badly. My students notice I'm quieter. I mark a perfectly good essay lower than it deserves and have to go back and fix it at midnight, which is its own kind of humiliation. What I don't expect is to start noticing him struggling. Raiwan's lamp is on at 3 a.m. 3 nights running. I can see the thin line of gold under the hall door from my unit when I can't sleep, which is always. A mutual friend mentions offhand that Raiwan canceled a group trip he'd been anticipating for months. No explanation given. One afternoon I catch him at his window, not working, just looking at the street below with his coffee going cold in his hand. I tell myself I'm not reading into it. I am reading into everything. The laundry room breaks us open, which feels appropriate. Same fluorescent light, same row of machines, same building where this whole thing started. I tie my laundry carefully now to avoid him. I miscalculate. We fold clothes in silence for 10 minutes that feel geological. I am concentrating on a shirt with the focus of someone defusing something. Then Raiwan says, to the dryer rather than to me. I keep thinking I should apologize. But I don't know what for. I set the shirt down. You don't owe me anything. That's not what I asked. The machine hums between us. I make myself look at him, which is a mistake because he looks tired in a way I recognize, the specific exhaustion of someone who has been careful for too long. It was my fault, I say. I changed what it was without telling you. Then I was angry at you for not knowing. What did you change it to? I pick up another shirt. My hands need something to do. Something I shouldn't have. I fold it and leave before he can respond. But walking back upstairs I feel it. Something fractured in the wall between us. Not gone. But no longer solid. We are no longer pretending nothing happened. We are now two people standing on either side of a thing they're both afraid to name. It takes one more week. It takes 2 a.m. and a dream I won't fully remember. Just warmth, and then the absence of it, and my feet carrying me across the hall before I've made any conscious decision. I knock twice. The door opens. Raiwan is blurry with sleep, hair unguarded, and he takes one look at my face and steps aside without a word. I stand in the middle of his living room. The lamp he turns on is the same low gold it always was, and I say it. Of it. The jealousy. The not having the right to it. The woman in the hallway and the two words rest well that I stared at until 4 a.m. I tell him I thought I was built for something uncomplicated and apparently I'm not, and my voice stays level the whole time because that's what I do, and I look at his collarbone because I cannot look at his face. Then he says, I stopped seeing other people 2 months ago. The room tilts. I didn't tell you because we said nothing serious. His voice is stripped of its usual ease, rough at the edges. But I kept thinking, why would I want anyone else? And I didn't know how to say that without making it into something you'd run from. The silence is enormous and very quiet. That's so stupid, I say finally. I know. We're both so stupid. Yeah. The pause. You want to come in? I look at him. Really look for the first time in 3 weeks. He looks back, no performance in it, no easy smile. Just Raiwan, tired and steady and still here. Yeah, I say. I do. The door closes behind me. Neither of us speaks. He crosses the room and I meet him halfway, and when his arms come around me I press my face against his shoulder and breathe, really breathe for the first time in 3 weeks, and feel the specific, overwhelming relief of stopping. No agreement. No careful terms. Just his hand at the back of my neck, the way it was that first night, and me finally, not thinking don't move. Thinking stay. I wake up in his apartment and don't panic. That's new. That's everything. Gray morning light through curtains he never fully closes. The space heater ticking quietly in the corner. Raiwan is already up. I can hear him in the other room, the soft click of his keyboard, the smell of coffee finding me before I'm fully conscious. I lie still for a moment and take inventory of myself the way I always do, waiting for the familiar tightening, the instinct to calculate the exit, to start managing. It doesn't come. I get up, pad to the kitchen in yesterday's clothes. Raiwan glances over from his monitor and says, there's coffee, like I've been waking up here for years, like this is just Tuesday, and something about the simplicity of it cracks me open in the quietest way. I sit at his kitchen island and drink my coffee and feel the unfamiliar weight of something that has no exit strategy. By the second cup, I find I don't want one. We don't make declarations. Neither of us is built for that. But things shift in texture. His door stays unlocked when he knows I finish late. My preferred tea appears in his cabinet without discussion. We eat together most evenings, and when we're together now, really together, something is different. I'm present in a way I wasn't before. Not watching myself from a slight distance, calculating. In my body. In the room. In his hands, which have always been certain but now carry something more deliberate. Like he's paying attention to a different thing. Not just what I respond to, but what I need without knowing I need it. One night I say what I want before I've finished deciding to say it. Comes out unpolished, half a sentence, and I feel my jaw tighten immediately, old reflex, brace for the awkwardness. But Raiwan just stills and looks at me and says, yeah, in that unhurried way, like my wanting something is the least surprising thing he's heard. He takes his time. So do I. And afterward I lie with my head on his chest listening to his heartbeat slow, and I think, I have spent so many years making myself easy to leave. Undemanding. I don't know how to be the opposite of that yet. But I'm learning the first word of it. The complication arrives on a Wednesday, the way trouble always does, ordinary, unannounced. I come to 803 in the early afternoon, door slightly ajar the way he leaves it when he's home. I push it open and hear a voice. Laughing. The warm amber of another alpha's scent threading through the air, faint but unmistakable. My body reacts before my mind catches up. I pull the door closed. Walk back to 804. Sit down on my kitchen floor, my specific spot, the one that knows me by now, and press my palms flat on the cold tile and breathe. The thoughts come fast and practiced, slipping into grooves worn smooth by years of use. Of course. Nothing has been said. Nothing was promised. You knew this, you've always known this, you don't get to. I don't text. I don't ask. I start dinner instead, using my hands because my head needs somewhere to not go. Raiwan knocks at 7. 2 knocks, always 2. My cousin came by, he says, before I can perform anything. She was in the area. You walked past while she was there. I set down the knife. The relief is immediate and enormous and humiliating in equal measure. You could have asked me, he says. Not angry. Something more honest than anger. A tiredness that comes from caring about someone who keeps quietly assuming the worst. You know you're allowed to ask me things. I know, I say. Do you? The question sits there. I look at the cutting board. He crosses the kitchen and leans against the counter beside me, shoulder to shoulder, and doesn't go anywhere. I spent a long time, I start carefully, not wanting things I might not get. It's a hard habit. I know, he says. I'm not going anywhere. You can't promise that. I know it right now. His shoulder presses slightly into mine. Isn't that enough? I look at him. He looks back. No performance, no easy smile. Just Raiwan, steady and still here, offering me right now like it's something real. Because it is. I'm finally learning that it is. Yeah, I say quietly. It is. The next morning I reach for my suppressant patch and stop. Put it back in the drawer. Don't examine it too closely. Raiwan notices over breakfast. His eyes drop to my wrist, then back up. He says nothing. Just reaches across the table and rests his hand over the inside of my wrist, warm and unhurried, like a question that already has its answer. I turn my hand over beneath his. That's all. That's enough.